Sometimes you just want a fun amount of bread. This personal sized loaf is soft on the inside, crispy and cheesy on the outside, complemented by pops of flavor from oregano, garlic, and more. And what better way to bring a bit of fall's warmth to the cold days of winter than with a freshly home-baked bread topped with your own homemade mozzarella cheese. Hello shepherds, welcome back. And if you're new here, hello. This is where we talk all things sheepy. My name's Megan, and today we're transforming some of our mozzarella buns from the last video into some fresh focaccia. But what if you don't have sheepy mozzarella? Any mozzarella would do, fresh or frozen, backyard or store-bought. If you dream it, why not make it happen? Okay, so these buns were previously shredded. Are they misshapen Franken buns? Who knows? I thawed them out overnight in the fridge. It helps with sprinkling the cheese over the bread. Okay, so let's go and get into the ingredients. We'll need 1.5 cups or 231 grams of all-purpose flour, 5 teaspoons or 14 grams of olive oil, 1 teaspoon or 4 grams of yeast, 2 teaspoons or 6 grams of sugar, 3/4 of a teaspoon or 3 grams of salt, half a cup or 125 grams of water. And for our toppings, we have mozzarella cheese that's shredded, and a few teaspoons or your heart's desire of oregano, garlic, or rosemary or thyme. I'll get more into that one later. To make our dough, we'll need a bowl and a spoon. And when adding our flour by a cup, just be careful. I personally tend to pack my flour in my bin, so for the most accurate measures, it really helps to weigh your flour. I like to make a well in my center of my flour. It's just a habit I do, and let's just go ahead and mix as we go. So next we're gonna add in our sugar, add in our yeast, and then in the center, let's add our water and our oil. I'm reserving our mozzarella cheese for the final step. So in the meantime, I'm gonna pop this mozzarella back into the fridge. So let's go ahead and mix in our water and oil until it's well combined. My dough is a little shaggy here, so I'm gonna add just a touch more water and work from there. I really like a drier dough, but if you prefer a higher hydration dough, just add a little bit more water and mix it in pretty well. So on to the types of oils. When we're adding in our choice of olive oil, the flavor oil does come through this recipe, so just make sure you're using your favorite type of oil. If you want to turn it up a notch, maybe even an infused olive oil will be fun. Okay, so this dough is still a little bit shaggy. Okay, so when we're adding in our water, we just add in about a teaspoon at a time, and as I'm mixing, I'm just pressing the dough with one hand or my spoon and turning the bowl with the other hand. And after a few spins, it looks really well incorporated. So now that our dough looks like this, let's go ahead and rest our dough. I'm gonna cover it using a plate and let it rest and hydrate for about an hour. Since it's pretty drafty in the cabin, I'm gonna proof our dough in the oven until it's about double in size. I'm gonna go do some chores and then come back and shape our dough. Okay, so about an hour's passed. Let's go ahead and shape our dough. But first, let's grease our pan. I like to grease the pan with the best olive oil around, so Aldi's cheapest. This is a small 4x4-ish square pan, and I'm using some of the same olive oil that I used earlier to brush up on the sides of our pan. This helps prevent the bread from sticking, but also gives our bread that fun, crispy crust. Just make sure that you get all the oil brushed into the corners too. I find that tends to be a tricky spot. A good helping layer of oil on the bottom really works. It basically lightly fries the bread as it's cooking. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and turn our dough onto our prepared pan. At this point, I find it really helps to moisten my fingers with just a little bit of water to keep the dough from sticking to my hands. And then gently press our dough into all parts of the pan. It'll puff up a bit, so it's more of a general guide than a hard and fast rule. And if you find your dough resisting and not spreading easily, try covering your dough again and letting it rest for about 15 to 30 more minutes, and then try spreading it out again. Okay, so now that our dough is pressed, let's cover our pan and rest it for another hour or until puffy. And preheat our oven to about 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Okay, some more time has passed, about an hour, and it should fill up your pan a little more, just like this. So let's go ahead and add in our toppings. We're gonna add some olive oil, drizzling up on top. This not only gives some really nice pops of olive oil flavor, but also serves as a way to make our herbs stick really to our bread well. And it also does a double duty by keeping the bread from sticking to our fingers when we're poking it. For an Italian restaurant kind of feeling, I like to add oregano, parsley, garlic, thyme, onion powder, and a dash of salt on top. I think we're out of some of our toppings though, so I'm just gonna make do with a heaping amount of garlic powder. I think that's about 2 teaspoons right there, some onion powder, some dried cilantro, as well as some dried oregano, just sprinkled evenly on top. We're gonna add our cheese in the final step, but so we're gonna still pause on our cheese for right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and poke our herbs and oil in. This creates these delicious pillars of flavor throughout the bread and adds such a fun surprise with each bite. And now that it's poked and ready to bake, let's bake our loaf in our oven for about 30 minutes or until lightly golden brown or like a very pale beige. We're gonna pop it out a little early so then we can sprinkle our cheese on it and then bake it some more. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead and sprinkle our cheese on top and then put it back into our oven to bake some more. I'm using a few handfuls, and when using this cheese, I find it helps really to add more than you think it needs, especially if you want a really good coating of cheese across the top and then to the edges. The cheese tends to pull up or pucker on itself as it bakes. Okay, so let's go ahead and return our cheesy focaccia to the oven now and bake for just a few minutes more. 5 or 10 minutes, or until the cheese is melted and bubbling in the center. One of the things I love about this is that the whole house smells so good already. Okay, so our cheese is bubbling up in the center, so we're gonna go ahead and pull out our cheesy focaccia from the oven and transfer it to a cutting board. A wire rack works really well as well to cool. So while it's still hot, we're gonna run our knife along the edges. This cheese is super crispy on the edge, and I'm worried about it sticking, so that'll cause problems for pulling out. So I'm making sure to run that knife right there where the cheese is and breaking that up. You can let it cool for a couple minutes so then it's safer to handle, but I'm gonna go ahead and pop it out anyway. Sometimes I'm lazy with this recipe and leave the bread in the pan for just grazing, like slice a piece of bread as needed and leave the rest for later. So really whatever you prefer is fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and slice into our bread. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there is a bit of crunch on there. It's soft and fluffy on the inside, and there's just a little bit of a light crisp on the outside. The mozzarella gives it such a fun depth of flavor, and with each bite, there's first that crispiness, and then we have the savory herbs blending in with the cheese, and then there comes this soft texture in the center of the bread slice with notes of olive oil and garlic really coming through. All I need is some marinara sauce or a little dish with balsamic vinegar and some more olive oil for that take out at home feel. But on its own, it feels like a complete snack. This bread is best eaten the same day or within the next 2 days really. Our house right now being winter, it's very dry and cold. So to help it last longer or store for a longer time, because it is so dry here, I do like to store it in an airtight container. So let me know, what do you prefer? A bread that can stand alone or more for dipping? And if you've made it this far, an extra special thank you. Recently, we crossed the 1000K subscriber mark, and I'm so happy and thankful for you to join the Sheep and I. And as a gift of appreciation, I was thinking about doing a giveaway. I posted this in the community as well, so in case you didn't see it, it will probably be roving or wool locks. There's also some sheep's milk soap that I do make and sell, but it has to age some more. I'm kind of behind on some products, but I digress. So to enter the contest, leave a comment, giveaway, so then I know that you want to be part of that. And I'll keep more updates posted in the community with the rules, like mostly that I can afford to make it a free giveaway for US and Canadian residents, but the tariffs can be really high in other countries. So I won't be able to do free shipping and free everything for that for if you're in one of those countries. But I'll make a special post with all the details, and then we'll do this online spinning wheel to pick a winner. I think that'd be the easiest way to do it. So I want to extend an extra special thank you for watching, and I really appreciate you. Until next time, ta-tas!